Today I'm talking about the 5 worst things about living in Fargo, North Dakota. Fargo is one of the fastest growing metros here in the whole entire state of North Dakota and the whole entire Midwest as a whole. Fargo is projected to grow from its current status of 250,000 people to 340,000 people by the year 2045. But before you move to the Fargo-Moorhead metro, you need to know these 5 worst things about living in the area. And if you stay tuned until the end of this video, I'll give the number 1 worst thing about living in Fargo that no one talks about, and I'll give you a hint, it's not the weather. So make sure you stay tuned till the end of this video so you hear that number 1 downside of living in Fargo, North Dakota. By the way, if you're new to the channel, I'm Sykora. I'm a real estate agent here in the Fargo-Moorhead area, and I have a lot of people who reach out to the channel who are interested in buying and selling homes in this area. If that sounds like you, you can schedule a call through the link in the description, and also check out my free relocation guide to everybody moving to this Fargo-Moorhead area. It can be overwhelming, I know. There's a ton of neighborhoods, there's a ton of schools, there's a ton of areas, and it's right on the border between 2 states. So if you want a free guide to relocating to Fargo-Moorhead, all you have to do is click the top link in the description below, and I'll send an email to you for free with a link to a free relocation guide to this Fargo-Moorhead area. So let's jump right into this video where I go over the 5 worst things about living in Fargo, North Dakota. The number 1 thing that is really obvious about living in the Midwest and living in Fargo is the winter. Everybody always talks about it because it's really bad and it can get super cold here, super snowy, and super windy all at the same time. We here in Fargo, North Dakota have one of the highest temperature variances in the whole entire country. North Dakota is ranked number 3 out of all the states for temperature variance. So it can get really hot in the summer, it can get over 100, 110 degrees in the summer, but then in the winter, if you factor in wind chill, it could get negative 30, negative 40, below 0. So that's one thing you need to keep in mind in moving to this area, and especially when you're driving too, because the roads can get really bad when it's icy, when it's wet, and when it's snowing. That's something you might not factor in if you're moving from somewhere else across the country and you're used to clean roads and it's warm all the time. The roads here can get really, really bad, especially in the winters, especially when it's a blizzard. When it's snowing and the wind starts to pick up a lot, like it does here in Fargo and in North Dakota, we will routinely have, interstates closing, schools closing due to snow and due to weather. And another thing, if you live in a house, you're gonna have to shovel your driveway. There's not a ton of places here with HOA. There is a select couple pockets of places here in Fargo specifically with an HOA that'll take care of lawn and snow if you don't choose to hire it out at your own house. But a lot of times people do end up shoveling snow, snow blowing, or doing whatever just to get rid of the snow. And that's something you have to take into account if you're moving here from somewhere warmer. But another thing too, if you already live in somewhere where there's snow and it's cold, it's the same as you're used to. It does get really cold here, especially because of the wind, which jumps right into the number 2 worst thing about living in Fargo is how windy it gets. It can get super, super windy every single day, no matter what time of year. 30-mile-per-hour winds, 40-mile-per-hour winds are not uncommon here. It gets really windy, and of course, being a flat state like North Dakota is, there's not a ton of mountains, there's not a ton of trees. It's really flat, and then that wind gets blowing. So especially even if it's not snowing out, but there's snow on the ground and it's loose snow, the wind can pick up that snow and blow it all over the place, make the conditions bad because of that wind. Then you also got to keep in mind, like right now in the spring when it gets really, really windy, it may seem like it's nice outside because it's 60 degrees, but that wind can make it super, super cold because that wind is blowing on you all the time. Keep this in mind for everything. Wind routinely will knock down signs, small trees, they'll knock down stuff outside. So you gotta keep in mind that it is really, really windy here year round. It's not just windy during the winter or during the summer, it's windy all the time. The next negative thing about living in Fargo, North Dakota is that there's not that much public transportation. We have buses and we do have Uber and Lyft here, and we do have bikes you can rent, but other than that, there isn't really that much for public transportation, especially when you compare Fargo-Moorhead to other metros like Chicago, the Twin Cities, where they have subway systems or train systems or major public transportation systems like that. We do not really have those here in Fargo or Moorhead. Again, like I said, we have buses, but that's pretty much it. There is some stuff like bikes and that sort of thing, but you're not gonna wanna ride a bike in the winter. So the main public transportation system we do have here is buses. Luckily, those buses do kind of go all over the place here in this area, but like certain parts of West Fargo, of Horace, those buses will not travel to. So you need to keep that in mind here in Fargo, North Dakota, that there is not that much of a public transportation system. But with that too, 99% of people here, they have a car or they carpool. That's how they get around. Not too many people are walking around all over the place, again, because of the fact that winters get cold here in Fargo, and not too many people are riding bikes, but a lot of people will do Uber, Lyft, that sort of thing, or just ride the bus around, which luckily does cover most of the area. But you got to keep that in mind that there's not a ton and a huge transportation system here in Fargo-Moorhead. If you're interested in making a move to, from, in, and around this Fargo-Moorhead region, you can reach out to me by scheduling a call to the link in the description, or just give me an email or text to the phone number on the screen now. I make a lot of videos about things in this area, what moving here is like, the real estate market, and we have people reach out through the channel who are interested in making a move or they want some more information. If that sounds like you can be next. Again, just give me a call, shoot me a text, or just schedule yourself right in my calendar through the link in the description below. And make sure you stay tuned until the end of this video where I give the #1 negative thing about living in Fargo that is unique to this area that is nowhere else in the state of North Dakota. The next negative about living in Fargo, North Dakota is that it's really flat here. So we don't have mountains, so we don't have a lot of skiing here. We don't have a lot of, hiking or mountain climbing or mountains that are just cool to look at. We don't have a lot of valleys either. We have the Red River that runs right through the middle of Fargo-Moorhead, splits the states in half. If you didn't know that, Moorhead on the Minnesota side and Fargo on the North Dakota side, right here in the middle of the metro. So we do have the Red River and the Wild Rice River down in Horace and the Cheyenne River. But other than that, there's not that really much for, visual scenery. There's not that many forests. There's pretty much just plain fields all around the Fargo-Moorhead area. So it's really flat. Again, like I said with that too, the wind, it can blow really strong here all times of the year. And there's not a ton of visual scenery throughout the area. And you also got to think that that's pretty much the whole state of North Dakota. It's really, really flat here other than the Badlands over on the western side of the state. It's all farmland. It's really flat. There's no mountains. There's no valleys. There's no huge forests here. It's a lot of farmland. So you got to keep that in mind here, that if you're the type that likes to go up to the mountains, go mountain hiking, skiing, that sort of thing, there are those still activities here in this area. Traveling over to Minnesota, maybe an hour or two into Minnesota from Fargo-Moorhead, there's a lot of skiing and there's some mountains and there's that sort of thing to do there. But there's not anything really, really close to Fargo for the skiing, for the mountain hiking, for the mountain biking, valleys, huge forests, that sort of thing. So you have to keep that in mind if you're thinking about making a move here to Fargo-Moorhead. Thanks for staying tuned till the end of this video where I give the #1 thing and the #1 downside about living in Fargo that is unique to this Fargo-Moorhead area that you won't find anywhere else in the state of North Dakota. That is special assessment taxes. If you do not know what specials are a separate tax from your normal property tax for improvements on that specific property. So let me give an example. Let's say you live on a street and they have to redo the sewer lines. That's very common here. They have to redo the sewer lines. So you're gonna get special assessments because the city has to come in and redo those sewer lines. So they're gonna spread it out to like the 40, 50 homes in that area with a special assessment tax. So this will be separate from your normal property tax. You have your normal property taxes, then you have special assessments. Now special assessments, it's kind of its own loan. So you'll pay in an installment every single year for your special assessments down to pay the balance of the special assessments. So let's say, for example, every single homeowner got a special assessment balance of $10,000 for those new sewer lines. So you wouldn't pay all that $10,000 right up front and right in the first year when those sewer lines are put in. You could if you choose to, but those are breaking up in installments for the house. So let's say the installment is maybe $1,000 a year for 10 years for those new sewer lines. So then divide that by 12. I'll put it up on the screen now. I can't do math that good. That is your monthly payment for special assessments on top of your normal monthly payment for taxes on your property. Now specials here in Fargo can range a lot, but the areas you got to be careful for are where there's really, really high specials. And one way you can kind of think of this is the newer the area, the higher the likelihood the specials are going to be higher. So like West Fargo, South Fargo, Horace have a lot of specials and they have higher specials. Now you just got to keep this in mind because you can pay off your specials at any time. So houses may have 0 specials. A lot of houses do have 0 specials here. but a lot of houses have a lot of specials because that influences your monthly payment by a lot, no matter the value of the house. Specials are usually based off the size of your lot. In the places where specials are really, really high, it can change a monthly payment by $200 or $300 or $400. Now that may not seem that significant, but is super significant for those homeowners in that area. So that's one thing that kind of isn't great about living here in Fargo and Moorhead, is that we have special assessment taxes. Now these aren't anywhere else in the whole entire state of North Dakota that has specials the same way Fargo-Moorhead does. Now if you want to see a full video if I break down why we even have specials in the first place, a more detailed breakdown of how they work and how they can influence you as a homeowner here in Fargo-Moorhead, you can go ahead and click on the top right corner of this video now. That'll link over to another video I made on special assessments, giving them a full breakdown of what you need to know as homeowner or someone who's moving to this Fargo-Moorhead area. Thanks for watching this video on the 5 worst things about living in Fargo, North Dakota. If you're interested in making a move to, from, in, or around this Fargo-Moorhead area, or you're just interested to see more information on like the good things about Fargo, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Make sure you stay tuned for my future videos. We post videos every single week.